Varroth, Jack, Sonia, and Ilphelodel have taken camp in a patch of woods nearby the town of Daggerford. An eerie fog rolled in, and by the time they woke up the next morning, they found that they were no longer in Faerun. They wandered for an hour until they reached an enormous iron gate flanked by two statues whose heads lie in the ground beneath them. Sonia found an abandoned porcelain doll whom she now refers to as Sonia 2. They also found a letter being clutched in the hands of a corpse that revealed that a woman named Irina had been beset upon by a vampire. The letter urged anyone who may have found it to rid the land of Barovia from this curse. They came upon a rundown tavern at the center of Barovia village and stayed for a drink. Thereupon they met three women who told them a little about the Vistani people, a group of planar travelers. They also caught the attention of one Ismark Kolyanovich. He asks the party if he can assist them in taking his sister Irina away from the Devil's watchful eye to the nearby town of Vallaki. On their way to Ismark's manor at the edge of town, the party hears a mournful weeping filling the streets. Upon investigation, they meet a woman who proclaims that the devil has stolen her baby Gertruda. After a humorous discussion on whether the baby and devil are figurative or literal, the party makes their way to Ismark's dwelling and meet Irina, who reveals that her and Ismark's father, Kolyan Indirovich, has died and that they would like some assistance in transporting the body to a nearby cemetery. Donovich, the owner of the church, agrees to help them dig a grave and bury Kolyan. Our heroes notice that a raven has been watching them suspiciously, and it's perched on a grave with the name Escher engraved on it. It then flies towards the north. After burying Kolyan and Dirovich, the party stormed into the basement of the church to deal with the priest's freshly turned vampire spawn of a son, Doru. Doru attempted to escape, but the party was able to incapacitate him and take him to a nearby river, where they performed an experiment based on vampiric lore. After lowering Doru into the water and discovering that running water is basically acid to vampires, Ilphelodel used his necromantic abilities to raise the charred skeleton and affectionately named it Chris P. With Ismark and Irina in tow, they made their way to a Vistani encampment. After discovering that Jack had sold his soul to a demon a while ago and that Ilphelodel is from Sigil, Madame Ava read them their fortunes.
This card tells of history. Knowledge of the ancients will help you better understand your enemy. I see a lonely mill on a precipice. The treasure lies within. This card tells of a powerful force for good and protection. A holy symbol of great hope. Look to the wizards of wine. In wood and sand the treasure hides. This is a card of power and strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. A wounded elf has what you seek. He will part with the treasure to see his dark dreams fulfilled. This card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in the battle against darkness. I see a child, a Vistana. You must hurry, for her fate hangs in the balance. Find her at the lake. Your enemy is a creation of darkness whose powers are beyond mortality. This card will lead you to him. He lurks in the one place he must return, a place of death.
They retire for the night in a nearby tent, and they all experience nightmares. Varroth sees a vision of himself being hanged by a man with a demonic arm. Jack sees himself being ridden by a hag and implanted with a screaming devilish worm. Ilphelodel gets sent to the mazes by the Lady of Pain in Sigil. And Sonia sees a vision of her daughter, now zombified, returning home and asking why mommy left her out in the woods. They reach an old windmill at the peak of a promontory and encounter three hags who have been kidnapping children and baking them into pies. Rather than dealing with the hags violently, the group manages to thwart an attack, all the while rescuing two children from the hags and finding the Tome of Strahd in the attic, one of the items Madame Ava said they needed. When they arrive at Vallaki, Ismark leaves the party to take the children back to Barovia village and see that their parents punished for selling them to the hags. At the Blue Water Inn, the party meets with Danica Mardukov, and are informed that the wine shipments from the Wizard of Wine's winery have suddenly stopped. They also meet a half-elf bard named Rictavio, who accompanies the party north of the town to Lake Zarovich, where a man is attempting to sacrifice a young Vistana girl to the lake. After they save the girl from drowning, they discover that Rictavio has disappeared. The Vistana introduces herself as Arabelle and agrees to help them stop Strahd. Jack suddenly feels an ice-cold pick stab its way into his brain. Ilphelodel susses out that this is the result of a Gaius spell. Varroth removes the curse and leads the party back into Vallaki, where a man with a demonic arm is attempting to abduct Irina. This man was Izek Strasny. After detaining Izek, a handsomely dressed man rides into town on a fiery horse and attempts to charm the party members. Fortunately for them, they were able to escape with an unconscious Izek in tow and made their way through the woods to a tower set in the center of a man-made island out on a lake.